Gopijana Ballava Giribaradhare Gopijana Ballava Giribaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopijana Ballava Giribaradhare Gopijana Ballava Giribaradhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishnuvad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharyas Tanistasi Srimad. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki. Sri Giri Govardhan Ki. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki. Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Sri Sri Radha Damodar Ki. Kartik Vrata Ki. Gopremanande. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to their Samo devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu, verse 31. Twan Maya Yadha Jana Isha Kandito Yad Anyad Ashasta Ritatmano Bodhe Yata Chared Bala Hitam Pita Swayam Tata Twam Evarhasi Na Samihitom Twan Maya Yadha Jana Isha Kandito Yad Anyad Ashasta Ritatmano Buddha Yatachared Bala Hitam Pita Swayam Tatatvam Evarhasi Nasamihitom Twanmaya Yadha Jana Isha Kandito Yadanyad Ashasta Ritatmano Buddha Yatachared Bala Hitam Pita Swayam Tatatvam Evarhasi Nasamihitom Twanmaya Yada Jana Isha Kandito Yadanyada Shasta Ritatmano Buddha Yatachared Bala Hitam Pita Swayam Tatatvam Evarhasi Nasamihitom Ladies, Tamayada Jana Isha Kandito Yadan Yada Shasta Ritatmano Buddha Yata Charet Bala Hitam Hita Swayam Satatvarme Varhasina Samihitum Twat your Maya by illusory energy. Adha, certainly. Jana, the people in general. Isha, O my Lord. Kandita, separated. Yat, because. Anyat, other. Ashaste, they desire. Rita, real. Atmana, from the self. Abuddha, without proper understanding. Yata, as. Charet, would engage in. Balahitam, the welfare of one's child. Pita, the father. Swayam, personally. Tata, similarly. Twam, your lordship. Eva, certainly. Arasina samihitum, please act on my behalf. Translation. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance they're always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is the duty of the son to depend upon his father without asking anything from him. The good son has faith that the father knows best how to benefit him. Similarly, a pure devotee does not ask anything from the Lord for material benefit, nor does he ask anything for spiritual benefit. The pure devotee is fully surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord takes charge of him, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:66. Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. The Father knows the necessities of the Son and supplies them, and the Supreme Lord knows the necessities of the living entities and supplies them sumptuously. Therefore, the Ishopanishad states that everything in this material world is complete. Purnam idam, from the Ishopanishad invocation. The difficulty is that due to forgetfulness, the living entities create unnecessary demands and entangle themselves in material activities. The result is that there is no end to material activities, life after life. Before us, there are varieties of living entities, and everyone is entangled in transmigrations and activities. Our duty is simply to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and let Him take charge, for He knows what is good for us. Prithu Maharaj therefore tells the Lord that, as the Supreme Father, He may elect to bestow whatever He considers beneficial for Prithu Maharaj. That is the perfect position of the living entity. Therefore, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us in his Shikshastaka, Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahaita ki twayi. Shri Radha Radhanath Sri Giri Govardhan Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor have I any desire to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. The conclusion is that the pure devotee should not aspire after any material benefit from devotional service, nor should he be enamored by fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. He should always be engaged favorably in the service of the Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. Twan maya yadha jana isha kandito yad anyad ashasta ritatmanho buddha. Yatachared bala hitam pita swayam tatatwame varhasi nasamihitum. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance they're always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you, but as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyachati Shatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Maharaj Prithu is continuing with his prayers to Lord Vishnu, who has appeared there at the place where Maharaj Prithu was just before, not long before, where he was trying to perform a big Ashvamedha sacrifice, means a horse sacrifice. Yes. So anyway, it's a long story, but the Lord appeared there, and Maharaj Prithu, who's a great devotee, who is a type of incarnation of the Lord even, but essentially he is playing the part, or not just playing like an actor, but he's actually in the mood of a devotee, and he's living as a devotee from the heart, as I said, not just like an actor in a drama, something of that sort. Yes, so he's making very nice appeals to the Lord for mercy. And that, of course, that's the perfect position for the devotee, to always feel dependent on the Lord and to recognize that, accept that dependence by not trying to do anything independently, but just praying to the Lord, please give me mercy as you see fit, for me to do as you see fit. That's the idea. And this is what Maharaj Prithu is saying, that, well, just like Prabhupada gives the example, it's actually given in the verse, in fact, but in the purport, Prabhupada explores it a little further, that the good son has faith that his father will help him in whatever way help is required, whatever would be the best thing. In other words, it's the son appreciates, but it should be understood that the child, in the relationship between a child, particularly a young child, and the parents, that it is not to be expected that the child will know what he or she needs, what will actually be the best thing for them. They may know very clearly what they think will give them enjoyment, and so they may ask the father, give me some sweets or something like that, which is not really of any good consequence, but in terms of really helping the child to develop and become a better person and a successful, happy person in life, then the parents who've already done it all, they know better. They certainly know better than the child what will help the child and what the child should desire. Srila Prabhupada, of course, we've mentioned many times, and Prabhupada mentioned on a number of occasions some examples of people, not children, but adults, who were given the opportunity by the Lord. The Lord appeared in front of them and asked them, what would you like? But because they were not experienced, they were not knowledgeable, they didn't know what is really going to be beneficial in my life, they asked him for something which was not really very worthwhile. Two examples come to mind. Perhaps the best known is the example of the lady, very poor lady, who every afternoon would go out into the forest to collect firewood to sell. And in that way she maintained herself. So she felt, of course, dependent on that and doing it successfully. Anyway, one day she was out there in the forest. She went a little deeper into the forest. She collected a bit more wood. She's coming out. It's getting dark. And she tripped. And all the wood she was carrying on her head, it just went all over. And she was feeling tired because it was late. She had made a greater effort than usual. So she just lay there and she called out, "Oh, Krishna, help!" And would you believe, Krishna appeared and said, "Yes, here I am. What would you like?" And what would you like? She could have said whatever she liked. She could have asked for unlimited, she could have asked for eternal life, to go back to the kingdom of God, rather than staying in this difficult and unpleasant material world. Or at least she could have asked for loads and loads of money, so she would never have to worry about going into the forest and collecting wood and struggling like that to just eke out an existence. She could have done something along those lines. So when the Lord asked her, yes, what would you like? Tell me what you like. Then what came to her mind was, could you please pick up all this wood for me and put it back on my head? And the Lord said, sure. And he did. And she went out with all this extra wood and sold it and made some extra money. And she thought, yes, today I got the mercy. But you get the idea, don't you? She could have, in any terms, just ordinary material terms or spiritual terms, she could have got far more, to put it mildly. She could have got the perfection of life even. And the other example Prabhupada gave is that there was one man, and to make a living, he had some sort of boat which would carry goods, like a small barge that would carry goods on a river, and he would walk along the shore, right on the edge of the river, pulling the barge on the river up to the town or wherever he would sell the goods or deliver the goods, whatever he was doing with them. But it was a struggle. First thing, he didn't have any shoes. And second thing, there were rocks and different things there on the bank of the river, and sometimes his feet would get cut, or he'd kick a rock and stub his toe, or these types of things would happen to him. And so it was really a battle for him. So one day the same thing happened. He's dragging the barge along the side of the river and just struggling, and somehow or other he kicked something, or anyway he just fell, and he was so tired and frustrated. He called out, "Oh, Krishna, help!" And Krishna appeared in front of him. Same idea. And said, "Sure, what would you like?" And the man, what would he like? He said, "Well, look, could you please put a whole lot of mattresses along the side of the river so I can walk on them? They'll be nice and soft, and I won't hurt my feet. And in this way, I'll be able to drag my barge and deliver the goods and earn the money and feel fine." And the Lord said, "Sure, no problem." And he did that. So of course these examples are pretty obvious. And the fact is that the people in general, of course they want many things, they have many desires. It's not like there's some shortage of desires in their hearts. But generally those desires, and even they may pray to God to help them fulfill those desires, but generally speaking, or practically always, first thing is, practically always, those desires are just materialistic. Give me some more money, improve my health, or something along those lines. Things which aren't going to really help them much, even sometimes things which will be detrimental to their health or to their lives. But that's all they can think of, because that's what their minds are focused on, the material world, how to enjoy in the material world, how to avoid problems in the material world. So, therefore, they pray, at least certainly they desire, sometimes some of them praise, of course, for those types of things, which are not really so significant. Like, for example, give me lots of money so my financial problems are completely solved. So that's okay, in a sense, at least on the material level, that's something nice. But then, that same person will be born again in his or her next lifetime. And who knows what their situation is going to be. And certainly what if they had prayed for wealth and got wealth in the previous lifetime, they're not going to take any of it into the next life with them. So at best, those types of desires and the results, if one gets those results fulfilled somehow or other, at best they're temporary. And at worst, sometimes they may cause great difficulty in their lives. Yes, Prabhupada explains how the thief is outside the rich man's house praying, please God, help me to steal from the rich man. And the rich man is inside the house praying, oh God, please help me so that the thief cannot steal from me. So one of them's going to lose out. Either the thief is going to get caught, he's going to get caught and locked up, and so his desire to steal is just going to lead to pain and the horrors of living in a prison. Or the rich man's going to lose so much, and his desire is just going to lead to frustration. So anyway, I mean, there's so many examples that can be given in regards to the people in general and the desires, the types of desires they have, and how at best they're not very useful, and at worst the results can be dangerous, even deadly dangerous. Yes, so here Maharaj Prithu is praying that please don't give me what I want, but please give me what you know is best for me. Please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me. So this should be one of the fundamental desires of the devotee, to just surrender to the Lord, and my Lord, my life is in your hands. Please engage me. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna speaks like that. You please engage me in your service. So we should think like that. We should definitely think like that. Now, of course, even though we may think like that, but one sort of problem or consideration is that we are not on the level of Maharaj Prithu, who's a great devotee and who has proven himself to the Lord, and for whom the Lord is willing to just drop everything and do anything for him any time. We are sort of, well, sometimes a neophyte devotee. A neophyte devotee means probably someone who's been a devotee for, I don't know how long would you say, less than 50 years is a neophyte devotee. Just in the earlier stages. Sometimes a neophyte devotee may develop a desire to not be Krishna conscious. Please help me to become a rich man so I can enjoy life, get a big Lani motor car, a big Lani house in Westville, and various other things like that. Who can say that this sort of desire has never sort of even momentarily appeared in my mind, even though I'm trying to be a devotee? Yes, so it happens that devotees sometimes find themselves in or get themselves into mixed situations where they're desiring some Krishna consciousness, but they're also desiring something material. And so then when the devotee prays to the Lord, will the Lord answer that desire? Do you remember I told you the story of one experience I had in Russia? One devotee, he was a book distributor, and he was a household, he was a married man with a family, but he would make a living by distributing Prabhupada's books. He'd buy them from the temple and go out all over and distribute the books and sell the books and get money, and he would maintain his family in that way. But one time I was in that particular place in Russia, and he came over to me and he said, I am praying to Krishna so that he will give me a car, so I can, instead of just walking around or taking the bus or something like that, I can drive from city to city around the region, and in this way reach so many more people and distribute many books, rather than just, the same old people every day in this particular area where I'm living. So I'm praying to Krishna, that Krishna, please, I want a car. And he told me, I'm praying to Krishna, I want a very good car, a new car, and a very high quality. I want a new Mercedes-Benz, he told me. Because there's a saying in Russia, I don't know how to say it in Russian, but the saying is, I think you'll like this, well, if you can understand it. I am not so rich that I can afford to have a cheap car. How does that sound? I am not so rich that I can afford to have a cheap car. Because if you have a cheap car, if you have much experience with cars, then you get some cheap old car and it's going to break down on you regularly. And in the end, you may end up spending more money on repairs, etc., plus wasting the time when you could be doing something useful, wasting the time going and getting it fixed and dealing with the people and all that. So therefore, saying is there, I am not so rich that I can afford a cheap car. What do you think of that? They have a number of good sayings. Yeah. Hunger is the best chef. That's another one. When you're hungry, and everything tastes better. Anyway, okay. So that's what he told me. I want a new, big Mercedes-Benz. Then I can go all over. It won't break down. I'll go quickly, so I'll have maximum time for distributing the books and collecting some money. And that's what I want. I'm praying to Krishna. So I came back there some months later, and the same devotee came up to me and said, you know, I don't think Krishna understands how traveling book distribution works. Yes, because I was praying for a good car, Mercedes-Benz, a new one. But what did Krishna give me? Well, anyway, Krishna gave him, you know, you'd have to know something about Russia to understand it. But there are some cars in Russia which are really cheap for poor people. And one of them is called a Zhiguli. And a Zhiguli, I tell you what, it's like a joke car. It's a funny car. So Krishna, I don't think he understands how traveling book distribution works, because I wanted a good new Mercedes-Benz. He gave me an old Zhiguli, an old one. So, you know, it's really difficult to get around, and it keeps breaking down. So he said, I think I should have prayed to Lord Caitanya, because he is the deity of Sankirtan. He would understand, but I think Krishna doesn't understand these things. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Yes, right, but that was what Krishna gave him, so it's arguable that would have been the best thing. So one point is, and this is an important point, if we are not really clear on what we need, in other words, what we should pray to the Lord for, we should inquire from the senior devotees. In my situation, what do you feel would be best for me? And we can get some advice from more experienced devotees. Yes, and in this way, we can learn what to desire, which will actually be helpful to the maximum degree. Yes. So therefore, because certainly we can pray to the Lord, and we should pray to the Lord, but it's also very helpful, and arguably even more helpful, to approach the devotees and ask them to help us. What direction should I take? What should I try and cultivate in Krishna consciousness? And, like that, because otherwise we may develop a sort of impractical Krishna conscious desire. Like, the goal of Krishna consciousness is Krishna prema, pure love for Krishna. So, but we as neophytes, we're a long way from that. So if we say, yes, Krishna, give me Krishna prema, that's what I want. But we may not be ready for it. It might be more practical to pray to Krishna, please help me to come to the level of anartha nivritti, or nishta, of steadiness in Krishna consciousness. This may be a much more practical and realizable aspiration or desire. Krishna prema, that's so high at this stage. Generally, we're not in that league, but we're more on the level where we need help to overcome material desires, to become focused in Krishna consciousness, to really chant better, to really cultivate a service attitude. Because these things we may not have so much. But before you can get Krishna Prema, you need those things. Absolutely need those things. So to get advice from devotees when it comes to what should I be looking for or striving for, what should I be desiring in Krishna consciousness, this is very important, extremely important. Yes, so I could just mention there's another situation in Srimad Bhagavatam which is very similar to this. It's very similar, and I'm sure some of you are familiar with that, is the situation of Prahlad Maharaj after Lord Nrsingadev had killed Hiranyakashipu, and now Prahlad is free and there's no danger. And the Lord called him over, Lord Nrsingadev, and said, I want you to ask me for something. And Prahlad understood. He is saying he wants me to ask for something material. And Prahlad, understanding that, he responded that, my Lord, I don't need anything. I'm happy just to have you and to have service to you. That's all I want, so please, don't ask me for that. But then the Lord insisted, no, I want to give you something. And it's a little bit of a long story, but eventually Prahlad said, all right, if you want to give me something, meaning something along the material type of lines, then please, you just killed my father, who was a really terrible person, horrific person, a person who surely is destined for like a one-way ticket to hell, to just suffer terribly. So my request, my Lord, is please save my father from going to hell. It's a material desire, actually. Yeah, basically it's a material desire. But the Lord said, all right, I'll do that. And in fact, he told him that actually he's already saved from going to hell, despite how bad he was, because you are a pure devotee. But I'll accept that desire and fulfill it. Yes, so it's a very similar situation. Prithu is saying, don't ask me to take some material benefit from you. Don't ask me for that, to do that. But just give me something, bestow upon me whatever you think is best for me, means Krishna consciousness, help in Krishna consciousness, to become Krishna conscious, to progress in Krishna consciousness. And yes, so Prithu Maharaj is telling the Lord that you are the Supreme Father. In fact, he uses the word Pita Swayam. You are the real Father. You're the real Father. So you, please, you choose to give me whatever you consider will be beneficial for me. And as Prabhupada says, that is the perfect position of the living entity. And Prabhupada quotes Lord Caitanya Shikshastakam verse 4. I don't want wealth, women, followers, comforts, any of these things. I only want your causeless devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Yes. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any comments, questions? Jai Sachinandan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, right in the beginning of the purport, that the father knows the needs of the son. So I was thinking of the incident with Giriraj Swami when one time he was with Prabhupada in India and he got very sick and he got very thin, he wasn't eating well. And his parents came down to take him away, and his father offered him $1 million, set up a trust fund for him, and he wanted him to come immediately to sign the papers. So Srila Prabhupada said, no, I will come in the summer. I will bring him to sign the papers when I come there. So it seemed like $1 million for a young man is very lucrative, isn't it? Is it? But Prabhupada was more intelligent. He said, I will bring him to just... So.
Okay. Good,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.